Let's shift focus now. It started with the government vowing to bring a strong anti-rape law to ensure what happened with Delhi's Braveheart doesn't ever get repeated. The government for a while appeared to be in mission mode. Even the opposition made tall promises of backing the government in ensuring that a strong anti-rape law is brought about. But in the end, politics overtook all promises, and in the end we are left with a bill that actually could end up with young kids, teenagers being persecuted. The age of consent has been increased to 18. It doesn't fit in with what's happening in modern India, whether in the cities or in the villages, but it fits in with the conservative and medieval notions of our politicians, and therefore the UPA left all conviction on the side and chose convenience instead.
Has the government betrayed the Delhi Braveheart by already diluting the anti-rape bill even before it could be tabled in Parliament? The age for consensual sex stays 18. Stalking and voyeurism clauses have been amended, making the first offence bailable, while disrobing a woman in certain private places is also a punishable offence. Spying and watching have been removed from the punishable offences list. The government's stance on the age of consent for sex changed during the second round of the all-party meeting after failing to arrive at a consensus on the anti-rape bill in round 1. The government decided to stoop to conquer in face of vociferous opposition, hinting at a compromise by keeping the age of consent at 18 to break the deadlock.
We don't want to postpone or we don't want to delay it, but at the same time, we should not be seen of supporting a bill which is against the general public interest. So that's why we have conveyed our views and we are awaiting for the final decision of the government.
16 साल के लिए मर्जी से लड़की किसी लड़के के साथ अपना वो सेक्स के रिलेशन बनाती है तो वो जायज है, और 18 साल के बारे में कहा गया कि वो शादी जायज है, ये कुछ ठीक नहीं है। तो मैं ये समझती हूँ कि इस मत से हम लोग सहमत नहीं हैं।
हम लोगों ने कहा था कि ये इतना इम्पोर्टेंट इश्यूज या टोटली बहुत सख्त बिल लाना होगा, हम इसके साथ सहमत है, लेकिन उसका पहले एक बार स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का कंसर्न लेना चाहिए। एज हम लोग 18 साल के पक्ष में है, लेकिन 18 साल नहीं।
We don't want to dilute the bill. There are some concerns about misuse and abuse. So we are trying to find ways which do not dilute the bill, but at the same time meets the concerns of some political parties. In our bill it is there, what we presented. So we are going to, the law ministry is working on this and the cabinet will consider it this evening.
It is my firm conviction that based upon the wide-ranging consultations and discussions we've had today with leaders of different political parties, it will be possible for us to bridge the differences and to bring forward tomorrow or day after tomorrow a law that will have the broadest possible consensus, so that the nation will soon have a law that will secure the dignity and protection of women.
The BJP and JDU had raised strong objections to lowering the age of consent to 16, while parties like the TMC and the SP had objected to the lack of provisions to prevent misuse of certain sections of the proposed law and were demanding safeguards against filing of false cases by political opponents. So now, consensual sex with girl less than 18 years of age would be deemed rape and the perpetrator would be sent to jail. But in case the male is also under 18, he will be put under one-time probation.
After 2 long all-party meetings, Congress was able to evolve consensus on anti-rape law issues. The government will introduce this bill on Tuesday morning with 7 amendments, and they have also agreed to the demand of the opposition to raise the age of consensual sex from 16 to 18. With camera person Sanjoy Chaudhary, Kartikeya Sharma from Delhi for Headlines Today.
It was a battle between the feminists, the modernists, the rationalists on the one side and the conservatives on the other. And in the end, it's the conservatives who won. The government has been browbeaten into increasing the age of consent to 18. And this, to my mind, is very, very scary, because it throws open the possibility of young people being harassed. consensual sex at young ages is a reality of Indian society, not just in urban areas but also in rural areas. What then explains the government's lack of conviction? Joining us on this program is Senior Congress leader Rita Bahuguna Joshi. With us also is Meenakshi Lekhi, who just a few days ago argued very passionately for why the age of consent should be 16, and her party is now instrumental in having the age of consent increased to 18 under pressure from the RSS. With us also is Shobha De, well-known feminist north. I want to go across first to Meenakshi Lekhi because the government was taking a perfectly sensible decision, Meenakshi. They realized that they'd made a mistake, that the age of consent had been increased to 18. They wanted to bring it back to 16, which is what the Verma committee also said. All rational-minded people said the same thing, including you. But your party has no convictions. It got browbeaten into taking up a very regressive, conservative position, which is not in keeping with the reality of modern India, Meenakshi. You've done a disservice to Nirbhaya, you've done a disservice to the feminist movement in this country.
Absolutely incorrect. Absolutely incorrect. To begin with, this movement was to heighten the issue of rape, and so many extraneous things have been brought on the paper and connected to rape. Anyway, that be so. But so far as this particular stand is concerned, my point of view for 16 was that at times there is consensual sex between young adults and late age, I mean teenagers who are above 16 and all, and somewhere that need not be criminalized. So I think a way to that effect has been found out by bringing, I mean, final draft will come tomorrow and we will go over it, but what the decision has been that while we maintain the age of consent as 18, and any sexual activity between 16 and 18 should be, or 16 and 20 should be taken as, if it is a consensual activity, the person need not be charged under the offense of rape and could be given probation under Probation of Offenders Act and could be counseled in all these matters and need not be criminalized. And the entire idea was to decriminalize certain activities. At the same time, there is legally, technically, there's another issue, and that is the age of marriage, like marriageable age. The marriageable age under the Marriage Act is 18 and 21. 21 for men because they have to be responsible for the family, and 18 for women so that their bodily functions don't intervene with the reproduction and childbirth, especially young women giving birth to children can cause health hazard. So keeping that in mind, 18 to 21 is the age, and thus 18 has been taken as the age of consent. And the only worry was that if there is a consensual activity between certain age group, that needs to be decriminalized, and I think there is a way in which that has been done.
No, because Rita Bahuguna Joshi, what explains the government's lack of conviction? That the government is completely confused. First, you increase the age of consent in a hurry to 18, then the cabinet wants to bring it down to 16, then you get browbeaten by the opposition into increasing it to 18. The government doesn't seem to know what it's doing, madam. What is the government's view? Why can't it take a stand and stick by it?
Look, laws are made in the parliament, and from the very beginning it was decided, and the entire nation wanted very strong rape laws and laws to defend women from violence. Now, when the Verma committee came in, the entire opposition and the entire country was saying that the Verma committee report is very factual, very good, and it should be implemented with severity. Now, when the government discussed this and the cabinet decided that the age should be brought down to 16 as recommended by the Verma committee report, ordinance was brought in. Now, if the political parties who have met in the all-party meet, they do not want, not acceding to it, they don't want it, there is a controversy, then obviously the law cannot be made because it has to pass through the parliament. So here the government will have to somewhere, come into a dialogue and to bring in an act which is at least passed, because only a few days are left for this house.
Okay, you are citing democratic compulsions.
So I am very hopeful.
I want to see if Shobha De agrees with them, because you're saying the government believes that the age of consent should be 16, not 18. Even the BJP representative is saying the same thing, and we'll have the spectre of an act which has the age of consent at 18, which is very worrying because young people will get harassed unnecessarily. But Rita Bahuguna Joshi says that this is democratic compulsion. There's nothing we can do about it. If this is what Mulayam, Mayawati want, it is more important for the law to go through than to have no law at all. Do you buy that argument, Ms. Day?
I'm very concerned about the line of argument that's been taken this evening to talk about the entire country wants this and everybody says this and the whole nation is behind this. First of all, is exaggeration of a ridiculous kind.
Yes.
And in all of this, we have not bothered to ask the young people what they feel about this kind of a draconian law that is. First of all, we are throwing out what Justice Verma, all the effort that went into that. Then we are doing this sort of politics of yo-yo, politics of trickery. We are keeping the young out of this dialogue totally. We are underestimating their levels of maturity, their decision-making abilities. We are saying that the Indian young person is somehow less qualified to have a jurisdiction over their bodies. There are several countries in the world which have the age of consent at 16, and when we try and link that to rape incidents, I'm sorry, but rape is something that's going to happen regardless. If at all, it is the repercussions that have been created by a sexually repressed society, a frustrated society, a society where we do not understand the sexuality of our young, that has led to this. Instead of concentrating on other issues which are far, far more important and threatening to our society, we are focusing on this only because we want to please a certain segment and certain political parties. This is nothing but politics of I don't even know what to call it, of convenience.
You're calling this politics of convenience, and that analysis is spot on, because modern day reality, Dr. Joshi, not just in urban India but also in rural India, is that boys and girls are getting sexually active at younger ages. That is the reality. Now the fact is, because, and I want to cite to you some examples. Argentina, the age of consent is 15, Canada 14, Colombia 14, Hungary 14, Peru 14, UK 16, US 16. Now what explains a modern legislation coming in with an age of consent which is not in any manner modern at all?
I respect Shobha Deji's views, and my views are quite in consonance with hers.
No, but your parties are not,
when
madam.
The government had to bring in an ordinance.
No, but look at this farce. The BJP representative says the age of consent should be 16. The Congress representative says the age of consent should be 16. Yet the nation will have to suffer the age of consent being 18.
No,
Dr.
Rahul,
Joshi?
I need to
One by one, one by one.
Try to understand.
Yes, Dr.
Please
Joshi.
try. Let me complete what I am saying. When the government had to bring in an ordinance for which it did not require the consultation of the other political parties, we brought it to the age of 16. The age of consent. Now the BJP has been arguing all along that the age of consent is not right, it should be 18. They were talking about the Indian culture, they're talking about our family structures, our social compulsions. I do not know who's going to vote where and what happened today exactly in the meeting. But had it been left to the government had always wanted the age to come down to 16 because it's right.
But if you're so convinced that the age of consent should be 16, why did government not try and build consensus around that? Why are you trying to push through what both the Congress and the BJP know is not right provision?
We don't want the bill to be stalled.
No.
We don't want the bill to be stalled. There should be provisions like Lekhi said. Yeah.
No, 1 second. I want to go across to Shobha Day. Dr. Shobha Day, it is better to have some bill than have no bill at all. That's the argument that's being made by the politicians. Do you buy that argument? That have some anti-rape law than have no law at all. We need to show urgency, and therefore some bill is better than no bill. Shobha Day.
But this
Rahul,
is actually
because you're trying to portray BJP in wrong light.
Because what the government is not prepared to deal with is how badly rape laws, how badly we have handled the rape cases, continue day by day. The government has been completely unable to confront this horror of daily rapes across our states. Instead of focusing on what we can do about rape, they are focusing on something totally different.
Absolutely.
Because it suits them. This will get, according to them, perhaps popular support which is counterproductive. Why not have better sex education in schools?
Absolutely.
Why don't parents talk more to their children? Why don't we table this subject and teach our young to be responsible with their bodies, to honor and respect their bodies, instead of this kind of a draconian bill being forced through for really, like I said earlier, just politics of convenience, and perhaps to quote the rural vote. And as you rightly pointed out, Rahul, it's not as people in our rural areas are not having sex at 16, 18, perhaps even younger. And this is providing a tool to the authorities to crack down on young people and, yes, definitely harass them and persecute them, prosecute them, the works. This is completely unfair. Ask the young what they want and wake up. We're in the 21st century.
Absolutely, which is what everyone seems to have forgotten. Just because the RSS passed a diktat. No, Meenakshi, just because the RSS passed a diktat, just because the RSS passed a diktat, the BJP forgets its own convictions.
You allow me to complete. You allow me to answer you. You just can't go browbeat in this fashion. First, it is not the RSS. This was Government of India which brought Protection of Children Right from Sexual Offences Bill, and that POSCO came in 2012 December. And if you do not know the timeline, allow me to complete that for you. December, this was brought in Rajya Sabha and other places. It is only in 2013, January, February, when this was made the law, and it was not done by BJP, it was done by the Congress. And I think Congress spokesperson needs to understand that and don't keep on saying BJP, BJP, BJP. Now, once you have made the law as 18, till now, till 2012, the consent age was 16. Yes. And I am of a firm belief, whether age was 16 or 18, it is neither increasing rape nor decreasing it. On the contrary, it was only providing an outlet for decriminalizing certain acts. But you made havoc around this, and it became a particular, a cause of discussion amongst youngsters, as if on 16, the moment they turn 16, they can go and have sex. Which is not
that's
the
a very
law,
naive statement. Come on, Meenakshi Lekhi, that is a highly naive statement. Just because you turn 16, that's no license to go and have sex. I'm sorry, that's a very naive statement.
It is not a naive statement.
This is a very
not a naive statement. A statement.
No, what do you mean?
It is not
a law does not permit them to go out.
No, I want Shobha Day to come in. If the age of consent is 16, Shobha Day, Meenakshi Lekhi argues that the moment young people turn 16, they think they have the license to have sex. Shobha Day, please. No, I will come back to you. I want Shobha Day to comment.
I think that's really
Okay, 1 second. Let Shobha Day come in. I'm coming to you, Meenakshi. Shobha Day.
Those who want their...
Yes, Ms. Day.
That's really, really insulting our young people, talking down to the young and making them sound like sex maniacs, waiting for some kind of a bill to give them a license to go out and have sex. It's a very pathetic statement, I'm sorry. And we really need a further discussion on this subject, a deeper one, engaging the young. I wonder how they're going to feel listening to this kind of a comment. It's not naive. I think it's positively, what shall I call it? I mean, it's a dangerous comment to be making and very insulting to the young of India.
Very insulting.
No, Meenakshi Lekhi, I want to state a statistic. I want to state, Meenakshi, a statistic, please. 1/3 of the rape cases in India are filed by parents against boys with whom their daughters have eloped. The moment you make the consent age 18, you increase the possibility of young people being harassed. That is what's happening. Young people don't need a license from the BJP or the Congress to have sex. They will do what they have to. You have to realize that reality. More young people will get persecuted and harassed because of this law.
Rahul, that is precisely my point. In fact, my point goes further, that this should be applicable even to Juvenile Justice Act, and 16-year-old man or 18-year-old man.
But that's not the law that's been passed. That's not the position your party has taken, Meenakshi.
No, that is...
Why will India suffer a law which all three of you realize is not correct?
Will you allow me? Will you allow me why the party has taken this position?
Yes.
Or you're just going to browbeat me into silence? Now, the party has taken this position because in 2012 December, Government of India brought a law which increased the age to 18. And that was not BJP, that was Congress. And once you have done that, how do you bring in a sense of semblance between three laws? One is your IPC, which claims 16. You have POSCO, the Prevention of Children Sexual Offences Bill, which is 18. You have a marriage law which says 18 to 21. You have to bring some semblance, some order between these laws. and the only way you can bring in some semblance is decriminalize any consenting sexual activity between the ages of 16 and 20 or 21, and do not bring these children under the category
No,
of
but let's
criminals.
look at also
And
what
that
the
is
cabinet
the
has
only,
passed.
that
The
is
BJP, the
only
SP.
explanation.
What did Mayawati said?
Excuse me.
No, what did Mayawati said? No,
one second.
I'm sorry. We have to look at what the government is doing. We have to look at what the cabinet has passed. Dr. Joshi. No, one second. Dr. Joshi. What did Mayawati say today? Mayawati this afternoon said, can you turn Meenakshi straight down, please? Mayawati this afternoon said that जब शादी 18 पे होती है, सेक्स 16 पे कैसे हो सकता है? You know, that's the argument that Mayawati is coming out with. That's a very regressive argument. You know, they're completely out of touch with reality.
From 1983, the age of consensual sex was 16. Now, Meenakshi is harping upon Congress bringing in an act last year, Child Protection Act. Now, they have to somewhere bring a balance between all the acts. That does not mean that you will just say that because the Congress or the present government brought in an act, so they cannot look at other possibilities. I still feel that 16 was the right age. This is my
but Dr. Joshi, why are you continuously telling our viewers that 16 is the right age when your government has now increased that to 18? If you're so convinced, why did your government not bother convincing Mayawati and Mulayam?
Laws are not made by the government. Government brings in an ordinance which is expiring, and the parliament has to make.
No, so is it okay for young people to be persecuted, for them to be sent to juvenile homes?
They are talking like this. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is why I am saying, but somehow it is an anti-rape law is coming. There can be amendments later on as well. Right now, the country is looking at the parliament and they will see who is saying what. They will
at a time. No, I'm sorry. This cannot be dismissed in such a cavalier fashion, Shobha Day, because 1/3 of the rape cases in India are filed by parents against boys with whom their daughters have eloped. The moment you increase the age of consent 18, you increase the propensity of such complaints.
No, they will not be charged under criminal acts. That is...
Rahul?
Yes, ma'am.
Rahul?
Yes, ma'am. Go on.
I would say that we're mixing up issues here. We are confusing with politics of mutual suspicion right now. It's BJP pointing fingers at the Congress. It's you said, I said, it was your bill, it was your law. First you said, then someone else said. What we are missing altogether is Mayawati or Mulayam Singh. They are not the arbiters of what young India wants in sexual terms. Why are we treating the young Indian as a sex maniac, first of all, or some kind of a sexual deviant or a sexual pervert who's going to be controlled by the authorities, by the state, by the cops, and told to behave or else. All this just to accommodate two politicians clearly out of touch with what's going on, clearly wanting to score some kind of brownie points, and they are the ones who are trying to browbeat everybody else. So shall we stop using that word browbeat in today's context and today's panel discussion, because the browbeating is not coming in the studio, it's coming from somewhere else. And let's be completely upfront about that. We have to be realistic, and what we're talking about, this constant attempt to link rape to this bill is dishonest. It is something that first address the rape laws, first address that issue, de-link it to this. Stop talking about criminalizing and decriminalizing and confusing everybody. The point of the matter is we are hopelessly out of touch with what's happening in young India, and we need to wake up and accommodate that new change now.
Absolutely. Dr. Joshi, I don't agree for a moment with your suggestion that some law is better than having no law at all. The fact is the consequences of the law that you are passing will be far-reaching. Young people will be persecuted, there will be problems as a consequence of your actions, and you can't say that some law is better than no law, even if thousands of young people get harassed as a consequence.
How do you frame a law without the consent of the parliament? If the majority of the members of the parliament are disagreeing on a certain point, you can't force it. It's not dictatorship. It's parliamentary democracy. And all laws have to be framed within the parliament house. See, panel discussions cannot frame laws. And though I have a very definite view. Shobhaji has a view. Ranjana has a view. So many other activists have a view. But the question is, the ultimate authority to create a law lies with the parliament. So we can't say, you see, government is
Okay, so you're making the argument, and I want Shobha Day to respond essentially to what you're saying, that young people can want whatever it is they want. If the majority view in parliament is that the age of consent should be 18, then young people must suffer that. They must zip up, they must suffer it, because that is what democracy is about. Shobha Day.
With Rahul, the average age in parliament, we must consider that and which century those minds belong to. And what they are deciding for the rest of India, 70% of the rest of India is under the age of 30. There's some very young people out there with minds of their own. And we are letting a bunch of senior citizens make decisions about their lives, which to me at any rate sound completely patently unfair and fake.
I think that is the key word. This argument that some law is better than no law. I'm sorry, I don't accept a diluted law, and a law which creates problems for young people is no good. The government has shown a complete lack of conviction, flipping from one position to the other. The opposition has made matters worse, didn't allow the government to correct what it admitted later was a mistake, and young people must suffer. And the problem is, as Shobha Day says, you've got a bunch of geriatrics taking decisions which young people will have to suffer, and they'll have to deal with consequences of that. And that really is the problem that we face today. For the moment, Shobha Day, Rita Bhavna Joshi and Meenakshi Lekhi for joining us. I wish your party had stuck by the convictions that you'd shown on the previous show and not done a volte-face under political pressure. This is not good in the least.